Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Money and Mindset podcast. I am your host, Sheryka Alford, here with
Anntricia Brace.
previously on the Money and Mindset podcast. Back in, I think it was probably about episode 5-ish, Anntricia, we were talking about turning your passions into profit. And you shared your personal story with us at that time.
Yeah.
Well, today we have the pleasure of meeting with Miss Wyjuana Montgomery, who has also found a way to turn her passion into profits. She is an award-winning author, international speaker, and clarity strategist who has a passion for mentoring teen girls and women. So, Wyjuana, would you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your mission and just give it to us? Give us all the
Yes, ma'am.
motivation you got.
I need to get a little bit of that Anntricia Bray in. You know, I am Lady Wyjuana Montgomery, and truly have always had a passion for working with teen girls, and probably because they realize they like me. Like that's half the battle right there. So I've just set out on a mission to really empower them because there's all kind of resources for us as women, right? Empowerment in business, life coaching, all sorts of things. But as a young lady, you don't just turn, 16, 18, 21, 25 and just know what to do. So I became very clear early on that it was important while I'm doing this work with adult women to also make sure that I am bringing the teen girls with us. So wherever I go, my mission is to encourage, inspire, and empower women and teen girls to reach forward with no fear. And we'll talk about what that no fear means a little bit.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Yes. Because truth be told, many of us from childhood into adulthood, we live in silence and we're making decisions based on trauma or based on experiences that we have not yet dealt with. So I commend your work. I know that it's going to break some of these cycles of trauma, silence that so many of us young women, even into our latter years, are living with. So I'm excited to dig in to see what you have to share with us today.
I'm excited to share.
Yeah, now you mentioned no fear. Now, we first met, it was maybe about the 2019 No
Yes.
Fear Women's Conference. And Trish and I attended, and I tell you, it's like once the link happened, it was like, oh, I feel like we kin folks. Girl, I love you like a play cousin.
Right,
So
right.
just share a little bit about us. Tell our audience, what is this No Fear Conference, and what started it? What's the purpose? Give us a little bit of information about that.
So yes, no fear was based because first of all, it was my husband's idea that I should start doing a conference, and I thought he was crazy. I was like, I don't have time for that. He's like, once a year, yes, you do. You're already speaking. You're involved in the community. Women come to you. Girls come to you. It's there. So in 2014, so I can't believe it's been what eight conferences already 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 27. I'm like, let me do my math. 7. It'll be 8 coming along this year. And what I realized is women are very good at not doing something that is their passion or not converting that passion to profit with all the excuses in the world. Y'all can help me with the list. I'm too young. I'm too old. I have kids. I don't have kids. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I mean, anything, any excuse under the sun, we can make it and make it sound legit too. And then to be fair, when you're talking about trauma, there are women who aren't making moves today at 25, 35, 45 because of something negative, a seed that was planted in their life when they were 10 years old, or something traumatic that happened to them when they were 5, 10, 13, and it has frozen them in their tracks. So the goal and mission of the conference is whatever you walk into the door, and you feel like you're called to do a thing, you want to do it, you have a passion for it, whether it's going back to school, writing a book, speaking, even just applying for a promotion on your job, when you leave, based on what you have heard and felt and the overall experience, you should be ready to at least take a baby step towards it. And no fear is an original acronym. And I don't think I've shared this story. It's not a Christian conference. It's for anybody. I've even got some Muslim friends who come every year. It doesn't matter if you're not a person of faith at all. It's for you, but you'll know that that's who I am. So I just want to be clear about that. But no fear, God literally dropped that in my lap. I was going through the drive-through making my car note, and only 3 or 4 days before the conference, he gave me a meaning for no fear. Only 3 or 4 days before the very first conference. And I wrote my whole talk on it. No fear stands for never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. And I've got to look into the camera for this one. So I'm going to say it again. Never let anyone tell you what you cannot do. Open your mind to the possibility of your greatness. Fight for what you want. Expose yourself to new things. Act on opportunities to launch yourself and reach forward. And that's why Reach Forward is also the name of my nonprofit youth mentorship program, because we can all do that. And so I just wanted to convene something where I could bring women and teenage girls together from all walks of life and just be empowered, and some tangible knowledge that you could apply right away. Y'all applied it. Y'all said, I need y'all to be the vice president of this organization that we got going on. And so when I'm looking at speakers, I'm looking for no fear in relationships, no fear in entrepreneurship, no fear in finances, no fear. Just because there was one bad relationship doesn't mean that you can't find love again. For the teen girls, we deal with topics on their level, not being afraid to be in your own skin and be who you are, not trying to do, one standard of beauty, speak up, speak out, that kind of thing. Even though resilience, maybe you were bullied, maybe you friended somebody and they stabbed you in the back. It doesn't mean you need to close off and never try to build a friendship or relationship again. So I'm really just trying to do this thing all over the US and abroad, sharing that message of no fear. Because in the natural, we know the fight or flight thing, people are frozen. They're frozen in life. They can't make bold, brave, and courageous moves because they're frozen. Which that's the title of my book, y'all. And I don't know when we're gonna get into that, but we'll get to that too.
Well, yes, absolutely, because I did include that you are an award-winning author. And so what is the title of your book again?
The book is called, and an author is never found anywhere without it, Bold, Brave, and Courageous, a No Fear Success Guide for Teen Girls. So the no fear message has always had one for women and one for girls. So the book is aimed at teen girls, and each chapter breaks down one of those elements of the no fear acronym, starting with a personal story about myself, where they can relate, laugh at me along the way as I learn those lessons. And then there's some work to be done along with it.
And where can they find that book?
It can be found on Amazon.com, or
Okay.
if you want to purchase autographed copies, then you should visit Wyjuana.com and get with me, and you can order them directly from me and have them signed, sealed, and delivered, because I'm
All
yours.
right.
And the book needs to be
I
yours.
will absolutely include that link in the show notes. So guys, be sure to check out Wyjuana's website. Now, I know you said earlier your husband um, encouraged you to move forward with the conference and such. And I think that's amazing, because to have that amazing support system, that helps a lot. Now,
Absolutely.
in addition to being married, you're also the mom of some teens, a few teens,
Yes,
mama
a
auntie.
few.
Now, so for those of us that have those, I'll say reasons, I know Anntricia look at me and say excuses, but for those of us who come up with, oh, I'm so busy, I got the house to tend to, but I do have this passion. What words of wisdom do you have for us who are trying to overcome those obstacles to help move us on in the right direction?
You have to carve out the time, because to be clear, I married into a step parent role 22 years ago, come next month. And so I have a 29-year-old bonus daughter who was only 5 when I met her dad and 7 when we got married. So as a young person, I already had a child in my life that I was barely older than. When we got married, I was 21 and she was 7. That only makes me 13 years older than her. So there has been a child in my life, the whole married life. And then I have a 19-year-old son, a 14-year-old daughter, a 15-year-old niece who also came to live with us 2.5 years ago, And now you guys may not know this. There's actually been another young lady living with us for the past 3 months who just turned 18. So there's two reasons why you have to make it happen. Number one, as a woman who's married with children, I am more than a wife and a mother. And if I don't do the things that fulfill my personal passion, I'm going to be sour towards my husband and grouchy at the kids. At the end of the day, Wyjuana is still an individual person who has goals, who has dreams, who has passion. And if I'm happy, what I say, mama's happy, everybody's happy. You have to have that space for yourself, because the other thing is the kids aren't going to always be there. What are you going to do if you lost your whole identity and only became a mom and you don't know what to do with yourself one day when the nest is empty? I know what to do with myself. I'm already planning. We're going to travel the world. We might live somewhere else in another country. But you have to find that space. And it's also a good example to them. They know what I do. They're listening to Monday night chats for moms and mentors of teen girls that I do every Monday night on Facebook Live at 7 p.m. Central. They're listening. My daughter, we became acutely aware as like a 7-year-old. She's got my speaking ability. The child won an iPod from selling a bunch of her Girl Scout cookies. And she would go around the whole house commentating, introducing an audience that wasn't even there to just a tour of our home. And that's my big brother. And, sorry, guys. This was her word. Sorry, guys. His room's a little messy, but there was nobody watching. But she was sorry, guys. She already had her world was there in her mind's eye. And if you watch my Facebook Live last Monday night, I grabbed her on the co-host. And the girl was amazing. She even started reading the comments and was like, yeah, I agree. That point that she made, my 14, yes, that point that she made right there and she read about, that's totally true, because she just stepped right into it. We didn't practice. There was no script. I just said, will you do this with me? And she put her top ramen down next to the computer and got to work.
Yeah.
So
I also noticed, I'm on just back up just a little bit. I also noticed that during the conference, she was a big part of that too. Being an MC of some sort during the conference time. So I think that's awesome that you find a way not only to speak about this thing that you're doing with teen girls, but actually live it.
Yes.
Live it for others to see that, yes, you may have kids, or yes, whatever your mission is, you're actually showing them how to implement that into your platform. So I think that that's pretty awesome. And then for other teens to maybe see your daughter on the platform with you, that would be encouraging for them as well, because none of us are perfect.
Right.
None of us have this ideal life. And I say oftentimes, when they see you on these platforms, they see you as some kind of perfect being and they can't fit into your world. So what you're actually doing is allowing your world to complement you on the platform that you speak volumes to.
Absolutely. And not just your sons, Sheryka and Anntricia. No, I mean, not just your daughters. My son called me. He just wrapped up his freshman year of college. He called, he's like, Mom, I need 3 copies of your book because I'm going to read it with 3 young ladies in my dorm. I'm starting a book club and I think they need to read it. So the example everywhere, I was like, brother, are you paying for these books or what? So the example for all of them is powerful. And they might not be speakers and authors, but it lets them know that no matter what they're doing, they can, and I don't like that term, you can have it all, because that's not quite an accurate statement, because at different points of your life, one part may require more time than the other, but you can definitely find a way to incorporate, still have family, still pursue entrepreneurship, still, do your passion.
That's good. That's good. Now, you're a clarity strategist. Tell us exactly, what does that mean?
So, the funny thing is, I've always been known as that person that's like the queen of clarity. Like, you can be sharing a concept with me and I might not even fully understand the concept, but I can listen and ask the right clarifying questions to help you get clear on what you're talking about and what you're trying to do. So a clarity strategist, what my job is within that You may have a business idea, you want to start a nonprofit, you want to write a book, you want to speak, whatever that is. And my job is to help you process through that so we can get down to the ground floor. What exactly are you trying to do? What steps do you need to take in order to get there? Because a lot of times visually people kind of have things in their head, and it's literally like those cartoons where there's a whole bunch of random things just floating around and they don't know what order to put. She said that's her. They're just floating and they don't have any steps. Like they don't know where to start. They don't know what order they should go in. They don't know what other resources or what other people. It doesn't mean that I know everything about what you're trying to do, but what I can help you do is be very clear on what it is you're doing and where you need to go to get the information or partner up or what have you. So uh, that's part of what I do, just help people get clear and work through next steps for that thing that's just floating in their head that they're excited about.
All right. So, if you're just now joining us here on the Money and Mindset podcast, we're having a discussion with Miss Wyjuana Montgomery. And she just said it, folks. If you need assistance putting together your game plan, I guess they can schedule an appointment with you through your website.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. And again, we'll have that in the show notes. Um, Now, based upon all the wonderful things that you've done as far as, traveling, you've traveled internationally, you've spoken, given talks, put on conferences. Um, what was what was the most difficult,
I would
and
say, oh,
how
go
did
ahead.
you overcome it? Whatever the most difficult experience for you during that time, and how did you overcome that?
Okay. Look, that speaker of me that just likes to talk. Sorry about that. Trying to answer the question before she spit it out.
Well, I
Sorry.
gotta ask because a lot of times the reason why I'm asking about the so hard on the obstacles, because I know a lot of times the voices in our heads, that
Hmm.
that internal chatter, a lot of time, and it goes back to fear. And
Right.
so that's why I keep bringing up, okay, we've talked about these excuses. That's why I'm like, what was the most difficult obstacle and how did you address that? Because I'm trying to help people check off those
Right.
reasons, also known as excuses.
I am so glad you asked the question. And I'm going to address the one that was the hardest challenge for me, but I also want to address one that I feel like is a very common challenge for people. I still have a full time, quote, 9 to 5 job, in addition to this full on other business that I built. But in actuality, even a business coach would tell you while you're still working for full time is the best time to start another business because you're not the starving entrepreneur. Like there's still a regular paycheck and benefits on the table while you build this other thing. I think that's a big block for people. And the weird thing about that is you can't just quit cold turkey with no plan and start the business. I mean, and a lot of times the skills that you've learned on the 9 to 5 job are 80, there might be business things that you also need to learn. So I want people to be clear that they don't have to just drop everything and be high and dry and then just about homeless trying to start the business. You just have to manage your time. And when your work day is over, work on the business, and on the weekend, whatever you can do. But the biggest hurdle for me is actually something that I've overcome in the last 2 years, even though I formally opened my mouth in like 2014 and said I'm a public speaker, even though I've been doing it. I've got a photographic memory. I'm the 4-year-old child that could get the 2-page Easter speech and almost have it memorized before I left the church. But the biggest challenge for me is getting out of my own head about what I do is worth. Like I am at a place now, I don't have to take a speaking engagement where they just want to give me a chicken dinner unless I want to. You know what I'm saying? And that's hard because we're groomed to go to school, get an education, work. You're going to get paid such and such per hour. Speaking and coaching and other, they're not about the hour. They're about that hour plus all the time you've spent getting the expertise and the experience. And most importantly, the amount of value that you are giving to that organization. It was very hard for me to get to a place to be able to open my mouth and give pricing for what it really should be. It was very difficult. And it's weird because I don't know. It's like there's numbers that it's just hard to even say it out of your mouth because we're so groomed to this hourly thing. And you've got to think about your 1 hour could be giving an entire organization value that's changing the trajectory for the better for the next 10 years.
And
So
let's be honest, we'll change it. We'll change it.
it will, not
uh,
not possibly, it is.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one thing that I've learned along the way, and I'm glad that you said that, it's not so much not understanding my value, but who I choose to give that value to.
Yes.
And so I like you saying that, because people connected to me, I'm willing to give more.
Right.
Because I look at that as an investment.
Right.
Investment into people that we're going to add value to one another, than say I would just some random that is not necessarily supporting or adding value my way, but is wanting to pull from my gift. And so it is understanding that. And there's no right or wrong. And I see many people being attacked as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Right.
that's something I think it's an individual choice, what value we're given, and how we monetize that, as it is opposed to just because you do it this way, I shouldn't have to do it that way because that's the way you see fit. But understanding what that value is for yourself,
Right.
and capitalizing on that. So I like that you said that.
And you do have to build. So let me be clear on that. When you're brand new, especially like a speaker, don't now my name helps me out. How many Wyjuanas do you know? But if nobody knows who you are, you do have to build. You can't just come out the gate trying to get top dollar because nobody knows who you are. You're also building your experience, the variety of venues you spoke, all of that. But as you progress, you've got to get comfortable and empowered to step the game up there. And the funny thing that people don't realize, they think they're doing an organization a favor. And if you're underpricing yourself, they start to question your ability because they're like, we know it's worth more than that, but why is she only, it's just like if you're buying a house and the house is 2,500 square feet and somebody's charging, 200,000 and the other person gonna sell it for 55,000, you're gonna assume that 55, it must be a total wrecking yard when I open the door. There must be nothing in there. Like I'm gonna have to redo the whole thing. That's the place that you have to get through and understand. And let me add another one. I know you said one, but this is a roadblock that people put up for themselves. Don't be discouraged if your closest circle to that point and your friends, and especially your mom and them, don't understand what you're doing. If you stop because they don't understand what you're doing, you're not going to go anywhere. I went and spoke in Botswana, which is in the southern part of Africa. Gaborone, Botswana is 9 miles from the South African border. Before my family asked me to be the keynote speaker of the family Christmas party. Book sales, all of that. After I've been on the other side of the world, then I came home, had a book signing at home. A lot of family members showed up and purchased. So you have to realize that just because those have been the closest people in your life to that point, that doesn't mean they're going to be your main supporters. And I like what Lisa Nichols said. She was like, mom and them, their greatest support to your business may be the fact that when you get off that stage, you just get to go collapse on the couch at mama's house, take your wig off, and eat a piece of fried chicken. That might be exactly what you need her to be in your life. She may never come to your conference. Now, my mother does. But if you're in a venue that maybe what you offer is just not what they need, they're not interested. It's not what they do. Don't get discouraged because your family might not be the biggest customer or supporter. It just might not. And that's okay. Go figure out who is and go for them.
Truth of the matter is, many of us, our visions are much larger than family members, but sometimes we desire that affirmation or that support in
Right.
getting started, because let's face it, when we're babies, we don't have that ability to stand on our own, and we look for
Right.
that nurturing and that support for people to carry us along. So I know that you stumbled quickly over your Monday night chats. And I think that it's so important that you highlight those Monday night chats here and what it is that they're purpose for, because not everybody can, afford to hire you to come and do a keynote or something like that, but they can listen to Monday night chats. And so let's highlight that before we leave this platform today.
Okay. So I started this actually March of 2020. Why? Because we were all in quarantine. There's nowhere to go. We're all just sitting pretty, doing whatever. And I started thinking, what can I do? Because, you also, entrepreneurs, money and mindset, you got to shift your mindset and pivot when something is going on, so you don't just dry up. So I started, it's been over a year now. I started in March of 2020. Monday night chats for moms and mentors of teen girls is like a 30. Now, when it's real juicy, sometime it lasts an hour because people keep joining when I'm trying to wrap it up and they're all excited and they're coming. Usually 30 to 40 minutes, quick nuggets around things that moms and mentors of teen girls and preteen girls need to know. And I tackle those hard conversations where you need to listen to me and whoever else is chiming in. I've had a guest a few times. I think I'm gonna start having more guests, keep it spicy. Those things that, kids don't come with a manual, and girls need a manual plus a DVD and a whole movie and something else, a whole lot of something. So I've talked about relationship, like, building a relationship with her. Make sure you are getting to know her for who she really is, not the idealistic person you want her to be. We've talked about cyberbullying, sexting. Yes, I said that, sexting. I did one called Are Her Eyes Red and Does She Have the Munchies? I'm talking about her smoking weed in your home. I have had that experience with one of the young ladies living with me. Those real issues that we've got to tackle. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so everyone was on the theme of mental health and being careful and watchful of her mental health, financial literacy. Almost anything you can think of, we've covered it at this point, and just a space for us to jump on there together for 30 minutes at no cost and get some support in your village, because it takes a village to raise a child.
And where can our audience find that Monday night chat?
So the Monday night chat is on Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook, don't worry. I haven't figured out exactly where else I want to put it, but I am thinking of creating a podcast as well, where I start doing it in that venue, in that space too. So it's Monday nights, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 6 p.m. Mountain. That is 8 p.m. Eastern on my personal Facebook page. So Wyjuana Montgomery.
How do you
Because what
spell we're not gonna just roll.
W,
Yes.
I know, because my name is not easy. WYJUANA Montgomery. Montgomery. Because I do have a Wyjuana Speaks consulting page as well. That's also where you can connect with me about clarity strategy work. And I work a lot with emerging speakers, emerging authors, editing, bringing Project No Fear. I didn't even talk about that. Based on my book, there's a whole 8-week teen girl mindset transformation program that you can bring to your youth serving organization called Project No Fear for Teen Girls. So yes, Monday night chats for moms and mentors of teen girls is on Facebook Live Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I'll make sure to let everybody know, put it on my website and all of that when I get the podcast piece off the ground.
And again, folks, that website is www.wyjuana,
Yes.
WYJUANA.com.
Yes. My mama didn't make it easy for y'all, but it does have a meaning. Wana means God's gracious gift. And I
And
weighed 1
yes,
pound,
you
14
are.
ounces when I was born and was only 12 inches long. So I know I have a purpose, so I don't have any time to waste.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, it has been a pleasure chatting with you today.
Y'all
And
too.
we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up of the Money and Mindset podcast. Until next time, take care.
All right.